Hey guys, hope you can hear me. My little voice monitor is going up and down, so I'm guessing that there is sound. Um, I firstly need to apologize for my April Fool's prank this morning. It was hilarious, and I do love a good prank. One of the great things that I think you should never lose in life is the ability to have fun and pull jokes on people. So, hope you enjoyed that little prank and it didn't upset you too much. There will be an update video going out for everyone tomorrow. But back to the task in hand. Welcome to what are we on now? Week 3, I think. Week 3 or 4? 3 of not sure, I need to check that one, of SuperYummy 8. So this week we're talking about hormone balance and sleep and recovery time and how the two interact. Now, hormones control everything we do. So hormones are key to you finding your focus, your mental focus. They're key to being able to burn fat. They're key to your energy levels, your moods, everything. Everything we do is controlled by our hormones. So it's really important that we balance them to the best of our ability. Now, the easiest way for us to get our hormones back into order, unless we've got some kind of gland which is malfunctioning, i.e. not producing enough hormones or producing too much hormones. So, other than that, the easiest way to balance our hormones is through sleep. And sleep is highly underrated in its effect on managing fat loss and fat gain. So here we're going to break it down. As busy mums, we tend to have an overproduction of the stress hormones, which are cortisol and adrenaline, and these are produced by the ACTH gland. And I need to check that. Gosh, honestly, my head's been so fuzzy since I've been dieting for this competition that I do lose track of things, but bear with me. We'll get through this. I'll correct anything that I need to tomorrow. It's obviously lasting at night now, so I am ready to shut down. Anyway, back to hormones. So yeah, cortisol and adrenaline are our stress hormones, but I mean, they get a bad rep. They are our stress hormones, but we do need these hormones, and as long as they're in balance during the day and in our bodies, then we'll perform optimally. So cortisol and adrenaline are necessary for functions. Like, we need to wake up in the morning, right? So cortisol and adrenaline should rise in the morning. That's what gives us our drive in the morning. That's what gives us our motivation. We need it to perform certain functions. So when we exercise, when we get into an emergency situation, we need our fight or flight reactions. So cortisol and adrenaline do all of that. However, what happens these days is, because we have so much artificial light, we've got computers, devices, and we are stimulating our cortisol and adrenaline so that we think our bodies, our brains, in fact, think it's permanently daytime. And normally what would happen is around sort of 5 a.m. in the morning, your cortisol and your adrenaline starts to rise, and it peaks around 6 o'clock in the morning, and that's what wakes us up. So then we go throughout our day and it starts to drop off at 3 p.m. Now, it's a gradual drop from 3 p.m. through to around sort of 10 p.m., which is where it's hitting its trough, its low point. And that's when we start to feel sleepy. So at 10 o'clock, when the sun goes down, starts to get dusk, twilight, 10 p.m., we start our production of melatonin. And melatonin is a sleep hormone. Now, melatonin and cortisol and adrenaline are like polar opposites, okay? So they don't get produced at the same time. Cortisol and adrenaline is our wake hormone. It's the one that gives us motivation to get up and go. We need it for exercise, all the rest of it. Melatonin is our sleep hormone that makes us drowsy, makes us want to relax and helps us get to sleep. Melatonin is in peak production between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. And if we miss out on the peak production window at this point, we're going to find it very hard to get to sleep. So by using electronic devices, artificial light, having bright overhead lights, having TV, lots of stimulants to our brain in the evening, it causes our adrenaline, our cortisol to rise again, because our bodies think it's summertime and they think that the day's starting again. So it doesn't drop. So melatonin is produced in dark. So as it gets darker, melatonin starts to rise. And when we go to bed, which optimally we should be going to bed at 9:30, in bed by 10 o'clock with lights out by 10. On this program, I sort of give you a buffer zone of half an hour. So you should be in bed by 9:30, but definitely lights out by 10:30. At that point, you want to be in a pitch black room. You want all of your electronic devices switched off. You want everything switched off at the mains, at the wall. You don't want any artificial lights coming on. And preferably, you want to sleep in a room that's very dark. So pitch black curtains, blackout blinds. You want a source of oxygen, so open window, and you want it to be relatively cool, so like a cave. And that is when you will get optimal sleep. Now, melatonin, as we discussed, is a sleep hormone, but it's also the precursor to the hormone cascade. So your hormone cascade, which we need for recovery, repair, and regeneration of the body, starts at around 9-10 p.m. with melatonin. If your melatonin production is out of whack, and by that I mean you don't get your full 4 hours of melatonin production, then the rest of the hormone cascade is going to be disrupted. And your hormone cascade is what repairs, regenerates, and replenishes all of your stores for the next day. So for example, we'll go through the day and we'll deplete, our muscle glycogen, we'll deplete our oh God, I can't even think, sorry. We'll deplete all the hormones that we use for various functions during the day, but overnight these are replenished. But they all happen within a cascade. It's almost like the flow of champagne. If you've got a pyramid of champagne glasses, like at a wedding, you pour the champagne to the top one, and if they're stacked properly, it will flow into all of them. But if one of those champagne glasses is out of sync, and especially if it's one of the top ones, you're going to get a dribble in the top one and the rest of it is just going to go on the floor. So you're not going to get a proper hormone cascade, which means when you wake up the next day, you haven't replenished all your hormones. Therefore, you're going to feel tired, you're going to feel irritable, you're going to have cravings for certain foods because your body's not functioning properly. So sleep is really important to balance your hormones. Now, what happens if we don't get enough sleep and we don't get to sleep on time, and we don't get good quality of sleep, is that we start to overproduce a hormone called prolactin. And prolactin is a hormone that will make us crave carbs the next day. So if you don't get enough sleep, you'll wake up feeling hungover. You all know this feeling, you've all got kids. So you know that feeling when you're sleep deprived, you wake up and you feel like you've been out on the town, actually you just had a really bad night's sleep. And all day you're craving sugar, you're craving glucose, and you're craving carbs. You need comfort, you need sleep, you need all of those things that will make you feel, I don't know, I guess better about yourself. But what is really missing is that you've missed out on this important cascade of hormones during the night. So getting to bed on time is really important for balancing your fat loss. Now, if you're overproducing prolactin in the day and you're craving carbs, you're also going to have an overproduction of cortisol and adrenaline because you haven't slept properly. And this is what started it off the day before. So we're going back to the beginning of the call where I talked about what happens if you don't get to sleep on time. So when you produce or overproduce cortisol and adrenaline, you will then start to store fat around your abdominal area. And the reason we do this is because cortisol and adrenaline are a fight and flight hormone. And these days that doesn't happen. We get stressed and we get panicky about stuff that doesn't require us to either fight or flight. So these hormones are running around our body without being used, and eventually they've got to go somewhere. So what we do is we lay down adipose tissue around the abdominal area, and that's there to provide us with energy that we can use in an emergency situation. And because we're overstimulating our cortisol and adrenaline all the time, we are overstimulating the production of fat cells that sit around the abdominal area. So by managing your stress hormones, making sure that you've got a proper bedtime routine, making sure that your hormone cascade is optimal during the night, you're also going to reduce your need for carbs the next day. You're not going to have this craving for carbs. You're not going to feel tired. You won't be grabbing for the glucose and running for the quick fixes. And you're going to have steady energy levels and steady moods during the day, through the week, and through your monthly cycle. So sleep is really important. Now, to help your sleep cycle, there are things that you should be doing. So as I've mentioned already, you need to be getting into a proper bedtime routine that is, and you stick to this at least 5 days a week. And I would like you to do 6 days a week to get an optimal balance of hormones through the week and through your monthly cycles. You need to be in bed and following a sleep routine 6 days a week. So that means by 9:30, you've done all your kind of tidying up around the house, you're in bed with a book, you've switched off the overhead lights, you've got a reading lamp or something, no electronic devices, no switch your phone off at the wall, put it on flight mode. Just make sure that your bedroom is suitable for sleep. So at that point, you can read for half an hour and then maybe put on your sleep hypnosis, your relaxation hypnosis. Make sure you've got an open window. Make sure your room is pitch black or as dark as possible. And that is going to help you manage your hormones and get you into a proper sleep routine. The quality of sleep is really important. So if you're not getting into that deep state of sleep during the night, you're not going to get the proper replenishment of your hormones for the next day. And also don't forget that sleep is for the body and relaxation is for the mind. So you must have that sleep routine in order to be switched off so that you can get into a deep cycle of sleep during the night. So yeah, so that's it. I really want you to focus on your sleep patterns this week. That's kind of the next habit that I want you to pick up from this program. So we've got into the habit of writing our journals every night, doing your 3 achievements from the day. And if you had some challenges, taking 2 lessons from that day, things that went wrong or could have gone wrong, and drawing a lesson from it and being able to use that lesson in the same situation for the next day or the next time it occurs, because this is how we achieve mental and personal growth. So we've got that, and you should be doing that daily. Every week I want those journals in, so please email me at the end of the week with your journals. I need to know what you're doing and you're progressing. So the next part of this is that we've got to get these sleep patterns down. So make sure you get these sleep cycles in this week. Set that routine, write it in your journal if you need to, organize your time so that you can get these sleep cycles in and you know when you're going to bed. And if you're working late or you have commitments one night, then obviously that's part of life. We manage that. But for the most part, you need to have the sleep routine set. So that's your focus for this week. Okay, good luck with it. Any questions, post them in the Facebook group. I'm sorry it was a bit disconnected tonight. I'm just trying to focus my brain on very little energy at the moment, but the information's there. You just have to work through might have to work through what I've said a few times and ask me questions and I'll answer them. Have a good night, everyone. See you later.